This is the Fox 5 News Block.
Developing news out of Gaza, there are questions today now about the long-awaited ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, which was announced yesterday. And breaking news, a settlement reached between two former Georgia election workers and Rudy Giuliani. It regards ownerships, his Florida condo, and 3 World Series rings. Good afternoon, I'm Bianca Peters. Welcome to the News Block. This deal means that there will be no trial, which was supposed to begin today in a Manhattan federal courtroom. Let's get right out to Lower Manhattan, where Linda Schmidt is live with the very latest on this. Hey, Linda.
Yeah, first of all, good afternoon to you there, Bianca. I'm taking this out of my ear because I'm hearing TMZ again. Okay, the bottom line is this. Rudy Giuliani's trial was scheduled to begin today, and he was supposed to appear in court today. However, he did not show up. His lawyer did, though, and it turns out the reason he was not here today is because they have reached a settlement with the 2 former election workers from Georgia that had won a $148 million judgment against Rudy Giuliani for defamation. And now, as a result of this settlement, and this is major breaking news here, as a result of this settlement, Rudy Giuliani is going to be able to keep his co-op on the Upper East Side here in the city, his Florida condo, and all of his personal belongings, including his 3 World Series rings, other sports memorabilia, and his Mercedes-Benz. Now, his lawyer spoke to reporters after the 2 sides settled in this case, and he said they reached the settlement after an intense 72 hours of negotiations. Now, Giuliani's son Andrew was also here with his lawyer because Andrew was also scheduled to testify today. The settlement, according to Rudy Giuliani and his lawyers, does not involve an admission of any wrongdoing by any of the parties, and that he and the 2 women have agreed not to, quote, ever talk about each other in any defamatory manner. Now, the 2 election workers, as I said, a mother and daughter, will be receiving financial compensation, in other words, a money award, as part of the settlement. However, that amount was not disclosed by lawyers on either side. So again, Rudy Giuliani now reaching settlement with these 2 women, and he gets to keep pretty much everything, not pretty much everything, he gets to keep everything that he owns, all of his personal belongings. And Andrew, his son, like I said, he was here today. He spoke with reporters after this settlement was announced, and he was saying that he and his father will be in D.C. for Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20th, next week. Back inside to you, Bianca.
All right, Linda, thank you for the update on that. Well, after appearing like there was a ceasefire in the ongoing Gaza conflict, that agreement now seems to be in question. Let's get right down to the newsroom where Sharon Crowley has the very latest on this. Hey, Sharon.
Hey, Bianca. The question now is why the holdup? Netanyahu's office said that they will not meet until Hamas backs down, accusing Hamas of reneging on parts of this deal in an attempt to gain further concessions from Israel. Now, today, just one day after the ceasefire deal was announced, Israeli airstrikes killed dozens in Gaza. Negotiators brokered the agreement that will happen in 3 phases. The first phase of that would, of course, be to return the hostage, 2 of whom are American, and allow aid to go into Gaza. It also means the release of thousands of Palestinian prisoners. But a sticking point appears to be Israel's demand that it should decide which Palestinian prisoners would be exchanged for the hostages.
The Israeli government wants this deal to be finalized, but it cannot be a deal which is correct in some places and not in others.
We are now facing a new phase in our proud Gaza, through which we can confirm to the world that we are a free people who build and do not destroy.
Well, displaced Palestinians in Gaza woke up today shocked and disappointed, as you can imagine, to learn that Israel still had not approved the ceasefire deal. Now, some families of the hostages are also concerned after getting their hopes up, and they are pushing Netanyahu to get the deal done. Bianca will be following this for you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Meanwhile, firefighters taking advantage of a break in strong winds just to gain control over several massive wildfires in Los Angeles County. Rescue workers combing through rubble that was once a neighborhood. They're looking for anyone still missing and salvaging items left behind by those who evacuated. As that work continues, firefighters are racing to put out hot spots that could burn into the roots of trees and then linger there until strong winds move through Los Angeles again next week. And the Fox Corporation has made a $1 million donation to the Red Cross, California wildfires relief efforts. You can join our support in helping those who are impacted. Just visit go.fox/Red Cross or scan the QR code on your screen. Meanwhile, in an effort to make the subway safer, New York Governor Kathy Hochul says starting Monday, the state will be funding a plan to have cops on every overnight subway train from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. She made that announcement today at Grand Central Terminal. This new proposal expected to cost around $154 million. Hochul says as of now, 2,500 officers already patrolling the subway. The state will be adding 750 additional officers to the platforms and 300 additional officers to the trains. They will not be hiring new officers. Hochul says existing officers will have to work overtime.
We've doubled the number of law enforcement personnel on the New York City subway system in 1 year. But we're also making sure that not just, as I mentioned, the physical presence of police, it's those physical barriers, it's the LED lights, it's the cameras. But also I say it's time to crack down on the shameless fare evaders who just are so brazen. They just walk through, and others who are paying, they feel like, why should I bother?
Well, the governor also directing the MTA to install modern turnstiles in 40 stations just to crack down on those said fare evasions. Meanwhile, New York City Mayor Eric Adams releases the fiscal year 2026 preliminary budget. The budget makes sound investments that will keep city subways and streets safe. It also plans to bring tax relief to working class New Yorkers, as well as beautify parks and make communities safer.
As I discussed in last week's State of the City address, we are launching an ambitious multi-year approach to address homelessness and help those suffering from serious mental illness move off our streets and subways and into housing.
The fiscal year 2026 preliminary budget commits $137 million to address homelessness in the city. Well, it's been almost 2 weeks since the start of congestion pricing, and we're getting a closer look at its potential impacts on the daily lives and culture of New Yorkers. Fox Eye's Richard Giacovas has more on how the plan is playing into the world of Broadway.
Most shows along Broadway were filled with people filing out of hit shows like Sunset Boulevard and Gypsy this winter.
I think it'll hurt a lot. I think it'll hurt everything a lot.
With congestion pricing now in full effect, theatergoers are left to wonder if the $9 toll will discourage drivers from coming into the city. January is a historically slower time for shows along the Great White Way. The cold, flu season, less tourists, doesn't necessarily encourage theatergoers to visit. New numbers from Broadway League reveal that the Broadway box office did in fact suffer the first week of the new year, down $13 million compared to the previous week. So did the new $9 toll play a role in keeping folks away?
We drove in, we parked over there. Normally that would be all full of traffic. We got in so quick, and no, it's fine with me. But I understand that it's a hardship for other people.
Yeah. I think it's going to affect business, and I think it's going to affect theater if people can't afford to pay that extra money to come down.
Experts say it may be too early to tell if congestion pricing is solely to blame. In fact, the first week of 2025 is up by $4 million compared to the same week in 2024.
Broadway's Broadway. People are always going to want to see a show, you know? It's an institution.
Gypsy and Sunset Boulevard, both across from each other here on West 44th, are probably the most anticipated shows on Broadway right now. According to those same numbers from Broadway League, Sunset Boulevard only played to about a 90% capacity crowd, despite being so hotly anticipated that first week of January, while Gypsy continues to sell out. Is the congestion pricing? The coming months will soon tell. We're on Broadway. Richard Giacovas, Fox 5 News.
Well, it's the latest chapter in the Justin Baldoni-Blake Lively feud. Now the It Ends With Us actor and director is suing his co-star Lively and her husband, Deadpool actor Ryan Reynolds, for defamation. That lawsuit says Baldoni did not want to do this, but Lively gave him no choice. Baldoni also says that he sees this as an opportunity to set the record straight. Lively already suing Baldoni, alleging a smear campaign to attack her reputation for coming forward about her treatment on the set of that movie they made together. Lively claims Baldoni sexually harassed her during filming. Right, the man known as Mr. Baseball has passed away after a short playing career. Bob Uecker was best known as being the voice of his hometown Milwaukee Brewers, the team calling today one of the most difficult in Brewers history. Uecker became voice of the team in 1971. He was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame for his announcing, and Uecker also was an actor with roles in the Major League movies and the 1980 sitcom Mr. Belvedere. Bob Uecker was 90 years old. All right, this is a statement. Nothing says romance like a cockroach. The wildly popular Valentine's season tradition of naming the insect returning to the Bronx Zoo for a $15 donation. You can name one of the zoo's Madagascar hissing, not kissing, cockroaches after a loved one or a not so loved one. And if you're worried about being shamed for doing this, nearly 60,000 roaches have actually been named since the zoo started doing this back in 2011. Those looking to participate must place an order before February 5th. Let's take a live look outside now. At least this is a little better to look at than hissing cockroaches. Liv would probably agree.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
But from the inside, it is good to look at from the inside. It's not great to feel out there. We have seen a little bit of some snow in the tri-state so far today, and that's going to pick up a little bit as we get into the evening, but nothing too crazy, just a very light dusting, but just be on the lookout for some flurries. Current temperatures in the 20s. We have 29 degrees for New York, 31 out on Long Island, 30 for Bridgeport, and then we have 28 up in the Hudson Valley. But with that wind chill, a lot of the day we've spent feeling like temperatures in the teens. Right now it feels like 21 in New York, 22 out on Long Island, and 18 up in Poughkeepsie. We do have a southerly wind, and it's not too bad, right? Most of us between about 5-15 miles an hour, so it could be worse. We've seen some wind gusts about 15 to 20 miles an hour, so still enough to make us feel a decent amount cooler. But again, it could be worse. We've definitely seen worse this winter. Today our high of 32 degrees is a little bit below average. Usually we get up to about 39 or 40. Here's this area of low pressure that's bringing us a little bit of snow, and then this area of low pressure and the cold front that goes with it is going to bring us some rain and a snow mix over the weekend. So rain on Saturday afternoon, evening, and then a little bit of snow on Sunday. Then next week we just get bitter cold for a high of 19 on Tuesday and 21 on Wednesday. Bianca.
All right, Liv, thanks so much. Well, that is your news block for now. I'm Bianca Peters. Thanks so much for joining us. Tune into the 5 o'clock news on Fox 5 and right here on Fox Local for all the day's news as it develops. We'll see you back here tomorrow.